Hey, hey, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Real Estate Elevated, the podcast where we deep dive into the power of real estate to elevate lives, build communities, and inspire purpose driven action. I'm your host, Cheryl Knowlton, CSP, managing broker of Coldwell Banker Park City, and this episode is brought to you by our friends at Guaranteed Rate Affinity. Today, I am beyond thrilled to welcome my friend, someone who shares not only my love for real estate, but also my California roots. Kim Hamilton and I actually grew up just a few miles apart, and our paths have now beautifully converged in this incredible space of service, impact, and sweet inspiration, quite literally. Kim is a longtime real estate agent who has taken her entrepreneurial spirit and poured it into something truly magical: gourmet caramel apples, and they are absolutely delicious. But these aren't just any caramel apples. They're part of her mission to bring hope and housing to so many families in the Dominican Republic. 100% of the proceeds that Kim raises goes directly to building homes for people who need them the most. This episode might have a few tears. It is a reminder that real estate is about so much more than just property. It is about purpose. It is about mission and vision and legacy. It's about using our gifts, whether in contracts or confections, to change lives. Kim, welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Uh,
excited.
I've had you in my office, and for those who are in other states and around the globe, let's start at the beginning. Let's tell all of our listeners about your real estate journey. What inspired you to become an agent?
Well, it's a funny, simple little story. But I graduated from college in recreation management in Utah, and I got a job up at Sundance and worked in the store as the night manager. And one day, a friend happened along to the store and saw me, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to real estate school. You should come with me." And I thought, well, I don't know why I would, because I have a job. I made $5.75 an hour.
Yeah, girl,
And
get it.
this was a little while ago. Uh, they changed the manager of the store and sent the one to manage the Sundance magazine and brought in a new one. And she sat down and did a review and let me go.
What?
And I was absolutely like, what? Wait, what? Uh-huh. Turns out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. And
Mm.
I went home in tears because I felt small and devastated. And then I decided I'm going to take up my friend's advice, and we went to real estate school together. And that was 32 years ago.
Wow, that was my
And
next question. Tell everybody how long you've been in real estate.
that
Wow.
it's I started real estate school in January 1993.
Woo!
And
January
I
1993.
or January or February, and then my license was in effect in May of 1993. I'd been married 1 year.
Wow, what a ride. That's insane. And so you've been doing this for a hot minute. What has your career in real estate meant to you over the years?
My biggest love about it is connecting with people.
Mm.
I'm a very extroverted person. I love to connect with people. I love to meet people, and I love helping people build their dreams and have a home. And in the process, it has refined and changed me. And I have learned so much. I tell people that I learned more in real estate school, more applicable knowledge in real estate school than I did in 4 years of college.
Wow, and isn't that the truth? We all have master's degrees in the School of Hard Knocks, right?
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
This is the roller coaster ride of life.
it
It's
is.
got its ups and downs.
It is. It absolutely is. So you and I grew up just a few miles apart in California, in the Bay Area. How do you think that your upbringing, growing up in California, your family influenced your values, and especially your passion for service and for giving back?
Boy, that's a good question. Uh,
And friends, I don't prep my guests with questions ahead of time. This is an on the fly, just two friends having a conversation, and you get to be a fly on the wall and just listen.
what influenced my life? Say that part again. What influenced my life growing up
Yeah,
to
what
become service
influenced
oriented?
growing up in California from your family influenced your values, especially for your passion for service and for giving back?
Probably my religion, just a belief in God and a belief in that there is something greater than myself out there. And I know that there's a lot of people who suffer in poverty, and I know that I was very blessed, and it could have very well been myself that was born somewhere else that needed help. And it's grown. I did grow up religious. I did serve a mission in the Dominican Republic, and that helped my love for serving people to just grow, to see people's lives change, to make a difference in their lives. It's pretty priceless.
It is priceless. Changing lives is absolutely priceless. I don't know that there's a better word for it. So having a family and a religious background that's taught you about service and about giving back, then you served a service mission, an LDS service mission in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, when did your vision for building homes in the Dominican Republic, how did that come to life?
That happened in 2022 when the real estate,
2022.
the real estate market. I mean, I was already making caramel apples. I was already selling them to raise money to help people locally with cancer, or actually raised money in 2017 after the Hurricane Maria wiped out Puerto Rico. I only raised $1,000. I just didn't know what I was capable of doing, but I sent that money with a friend, and she came back and said that put two roofs on two homes. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But in 2022, the real estate market, as we all know, the interest rates went up, and my real estate business came to a flat line. All my clients just said, hey, we're going to wait. We're going to wait till interest rates come back down, and cancel contracts, let earnest money go out the door. And I found myself in August of 2022 with not much to do, but wanting to do something. And I could have put it into real estate, but I didn't want to. I actually called up the lady who runs the foundation, the Dominican Starfish Foundation. I was introduced to her in 2020, had never met her. And I had done a fundraiser back in 2020 to help build a home back then. And then I called her up in 2022 and I said, hey, what does it cost to build a whole house? And she said, $15,000. And I sighed and I said, well, I think I want to try to do that. And instead of real estate, I put my heart and soul into making and selling caramel apples, not actually believing that I could achieve a goal when that was 5 times more than I had ever made. And I began, and I worked hard, and it scared me, and I did not think I could achieve this goal. And I actually quit after I reached $10,000 because I didn't think I'd make it that far. And I thought, I can't believe that I've made it this far. So I quit. Like, I got to stay in my safe zone. Literally was scrolling on social media, and I saw a quote by Dr. Laura that said, the temptation to quit will be the greatest just before you're about to succeed. So I called up my daughter and I said, we can't quit. And we put myself back out there, got more orders. And by Christmas, I had raised over $17,000 for family to have a home.
Yay! Okay. So then you saw, wait a minute, I actually can do this. You raised enough money for your first full home, the cost being $15,000, you raised over 17. Then what happened in 2023?
Well, 2023, early in February, Louise invited me out to the Dominican Republic to stay with her and her in her timeshare resort and go see or meet the family that would be getting the home. They hadn't started building it. They don't start until the money is raised. And so I decided to go. I had never met Louise, never met this family, and I went out and met them, made a good connection with them. She invited me to go back in June to see the home when it was completed and to be there when they received the home. That was a very life-changing trip. We surprised them on Monday with the home. Actually, they knew about the home. So it wasn't a surprise, but it was a surprise. It's like, here, these people have been living in a shack, scrap wood, scrap metal, cardboard. And to see what we build is a 750 square foot home made out of cinder blocks. It's painted, it's beautiful, has 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a sitting area. Well, this family had never had a couch. They had rotten beds. They'd never had a refrigerator, never had a stove. They didn't have electricity. I kind of think they had a toilet. Just don't know how it functioned. I've lived there. I know how toilets there function. It's not great. So with the extra money, we were able to get them new beds, a water tank, a couch, a refrigerator, a stove, and a washing machine. It was incredible. And then they surprised me 2 days later by getting married. They have 3 little kids, and it was the biggest, best celebration. So that's really the highlights of 2023 were there. In fact, there is one more thing that happened in 2023. I have a good relationship with my mission leader. He had called me up and asked me what I was doing when I had finished raising the money. And I told him, I don't know, I just finished raising money for a home for a family in the Dominican Republic. And he said, well, when you go in February, I want you to pray about it. And I want you to see if there's somebody else who can help. And so I met this, or I didn't meet them. I actually heard about them. It was a young family, a mother who's 18 years old and has 3 children, 2 toddlers and an infant. And they were gifted a little piece of land. Land is expensive, but they built their little shack on it, scrap wood, scrap metal, and cardboard, dirt floors, no electricity, a little shower, not even a shower curtain, just a rope with a material over it for a bathroom and a shower outside. And the uncle was upset that the grandmother had given them that land, and he got drunk, got a machete out, and went and attacked this little mom and tried to kill her.
Oh, for my
I know. It's a different world. She must have put up her hand to protect her children, and he cut her hand off.
Oh.
And through her screaming, people apprehended him. The police took him to jail, and that girl went to the hospital, and her life was saved. She was hit multiple times in the back and lost her hand. And I thought for sure this has got to be the family that my mission leader wants to help with. So I came home and told him about this family, and he said, okay, start raising money. And I said, well, I don't have caramel apples this time of year. It's March. And he said, you don't need them. He said, just get on your knees and pray and ask God to show you who to reach out to. And so I set a goal to reach out to 5 people every day. I started on March 1st, and every day I acted on every prompting I got, made the phone call, reached out, told the story, and started raising money. And by March 26th, the $15,000 was raised. And I could not believe it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So when I went back in June, here's why I share that, because when I went back in June, I was giving not 1, but 2 full homes. When I started this back in September of 2022, I did not believe it was possible to even raise money for half a home. And so 2023 was incredible. There's more. I don't know if you have questions or if you want to just keep
Oh
going.
no, keep going. Keep going. I'm on the edge of my seat.
So 2023, I started again in the fall because now I know it's possible and I get to work. I set a goal to raise 5,000 in October, 5,000 in November, and 5,000 in December. And I was I was well on my way, on track, and my mission leader called me up out of the blue. You have to realize I'd been there with him 37 years earlier. So this is an interesting and very good relationship and friendship. And he just calls me up and he says, how's it going? And I said, it's going great. I'm right on track on all my goals. And he said, okay, I'll make you a deal. When you finish whatever money you don't raise towards your goal, I'll pay the difference. And I just went, okay, thank you. That is so kind and generous. However, I know I'm going to reach my goal. I knew it. I had the confidence that this was going to happen. And he said, huh, I like that. Then I'll match it.
Wow. And remind everybody what your goal was. In 2023, your goal was to do how many homes?
Just one house.
Just one. And you knew you were going to make it. And he said, okay, since you know you're going to make it now, Kim, now that you have that belief, I'm going to match it. So
Yeah.
now you can do two?
Yep. I said, are you sure? I mean, that's $15,000. And he said, yes, let's build two homes. And he said, but I want you to choose the family. I want I want you to pray about it so you know you got the right family. And all I could do was say, okay. And I just started to pray and wondered if when I went back again in February of 2024, if I would have some kind of a similar experience, but I did not. I received a text from Louise in January of 2024 who said, hey, there's a bishop in San Felipe in great need of a home, and they have two small children. And I put my phone down and I just felt overwhelmed and started literally, I was embarrassing. I just started crying. I was like, something flooded through me that this was the home. I had told God, I'm like, I don't know who needs this house, but I know you do. Just help me recognize who needs this home. So this little family, when I went back to meet them and let them know they'd get a home, very sweet little family. She was crying, and it was anticlimactic. It wasn't anything special. But then Louise says to me, come back in June when they get their home. And of course, I'm going to go back because it's a pretty amazing experience. And so the story I'm going to share is so impossible, but it shows how much God is in the details when you make an effort to help with children. So I went back in June, presented them the home, and when the dust settled, I just pulled her aside and I said, I don't know if you know what a miracle this was. I said, I just do this caramel apple project and I sell apples to raise money so that somebody can have a home. And I said, my mission leader called me and said he would match the project, but he wanted me to pray about it and wanted me to pick the family. And I said, when your family's name came to me, it just flooded through me, and I knew it was for you were the people for this home. And she's crying again, and she just says, thank you. You have no idea how much we've prayed for help. Well, the next day she asked to be my friend on Facebook, and I accept. And she immediately sends me a photograph of a couple. And I looked at them, and she had said, do you know these people? And I said, I do. I know her. She was a missionary with me at the same time, at the same place 37 years ago. And she said, I served the mission in Bolivia, and they were my mission leaders. So my mission president funded a home for one of his missionaries through one of his missionaries.
Oh,
anyway, that was pretty incredible. That was you can't make this up. There are millions of people There are millions of people that need help.
Mm.
But he asked me to pray so that I knew I got the right family and choose that family. So that was fun.
Wow. So today, at this moment in time, how many homes has your beautiful caramel apple project created?
Four.
Four. Four
Four.
homes for individuals and families who otherwise would not have one. Kim, that's a miracle. That's so amazing. That's absolutely phenomenal. Do you have any kind of a goal or a vision for how many families you'd like to help this year or in the next 10 years? Like, what does this look like for you? Where are you headed with all of this?
That's a really good question because number one, I love to do it. It's just a love of service. It is something that feeds me. It's something I enjoy. I have the energy to do it. And I didn't ever see it going the direction that it's going. I didn't think it was possible to raise money for half a home. And here I am a year and a half later, literally giving my fourth home. And I'm going to start another project in the fall. This time in 2024, when I started the project, my goal was $20,000 for a family because I wanted them to have a barber shop connected to the house because that's what he does for work. Makes maybe $10 a day, hardly makes enough money to pay rent and feed his family. So I was concerned because I was going to the Dominican Republic in October. I was going to Australia in November, and I did not know how I was going to make a $20,000 goal happen. But I will tell you that God is in the details and miracles happened. And by October 23rd, that $20,000 goal was finished.
Woo! Yes.
And I started on house number 2. And by the time I got back from Australia in November, house number 2 was finished. And then I had a whole nother month before apples would run out. And I ended up building 3 homes in 2024.
Wow.
It was beyond, I knew 2 was possible this time. I did not think 3 was possible. And then the story gets even better for 2025. Hold on a second. I can't talk right now, sweetie. Oh, okay. Sorry, she's leaving. Come here, quick, give me your head.
Sorry, podcast production team. I need to edit this out.
Okay.
That was a sweet hug.
Go shut the door, okay? Sorry.
All right, and start again.
So 2025, I started my Apple project, and I did not want to set a goal. I just didn't. I just figured whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I start my Apple project, and I'm making apples, and it's actually this time very laborsome. And I know that maybe sounds funny because I've been laboring all this time working, but it just felt heavier. It felt harder. My back was hurting pretty profoundly. And 3 weeks after I started, can you hear me still? Because my
Absolutely, yes.
3 weeks after I started, guess who calls me? My mission leader friend.
Oh.
How's it going? And I said, actually, it's really hard. And I started to complain. My back hurts. I'm not getting orders. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And he said, well, what's your goal? And I said, I don't want to make a goal. I don't know if it was because I didn't want to fail. I figured I'm just going to work and see what happens. And he said, no, make a goal. And he said, change your presentation, pray and ask God to strengthen your back, do all these things. And so I did. I decided I'm going to set a goal for 3 homes because I know 2 is possible, but I don't know 3 is possible. I asked him to strengthen my back. It worked, but this is my timeline of this fall. I started on September 6th, $15,000 goal. It took me until November 6th to reach that goal. It was 2 full months of hard work. I start house number 2, and by November 23rd, the orchard has told me now that they're at 40% capacity and they're closing their doors at about the second week of December. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to finish this? And Louise knows that I'm raising money and knows that I'm working. And she keeps sending me pictures and telling me about the people for house number 3. And it's a lady who's blind. She has a severely handicapped child. And just the husband is taking care of the mom and taking care of the child. And they need help. They have no place to live because of the wheelchair and everything. And I finally asked her to stop sending me information. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. The orchard's closing the mid-December before Christmas. And I said, I still have like $8,000 left to go on house number 2. And so I quit. I quit my goal, is what I'm trying to say. I'm like, I got to just focus on house number 2 and get this one finished. And I had a very interesting phone call on November 23rd of a friend that just called and asked questions about the foundation and about homes and about what I was doing. And by the end of that phone call, she said, my husband and I want to donate $5,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I started shaking because I'm like, oh my gosh, please, thank you. That's incredible. And by the next day, I finished. Literally, I came up to, no, it wasn't quite yet. I was doing a boutique and I raised the rest of the money for house number 2 with her donation. So I start house number 3. I can't do the whole timeline perfectly. But house number 3 was done in 2 days. And it's now December. I know this is where I came up to Park City to meet with you and to meet with your office. That was Giving Tuesday. And Louise on the other end was helping raise funds with me for this house number 3. Mm-hmm. And within 2 days, all the money was raised with the $5,000 donation, with the coming up to Park City and Park City's donation. Yep, it was big. And then Louise pulled Giving Tuesday donations and we were finished. So I couldn't believe it. But by December 4th, we were finished with house number 3. And actually, that was December.
I just looked it up, Kim. That day, I want to do a huge, of course, shout out to you for coming up here and giving my agents the opportunity to open their hearts and their wallets to this amazing, incredible project that you've poured your whole heart and soul and back into. That day, December 2nd, was the date. And my cute agents here in my Coldwell Banker Park City office, $1,155 in a day. And we are not a gigantic office. And I was just, when you texted me and told me the amount later, I cried. I was like, I know my agents. I was so happy that we collectively could be part of this incredible journey that you're on. It's just absolutely magical.
Well, thank you, because it was pretty incredible. All of it's incredible.
And I didn't know that day. Well, I mean, I knew, of course, all about your mission and all the homes that you would build and all the magic that you were up to. You'd been up here once before, but I didn't know all the obstacles that you had been facing, and I didn't know where you were in the process at that time. Just, a month and a half ago. Well, not even a month and a half ago, a month and a few days ago. So it's amazing.
So it is amazing. That was December 2nd that I came up. That was the Giving Tuesday. By December 3rd, all the money was raised for house number 3. And I now know the orchard's closing by mid-December, and we're going right into December, or we're already in December. So I decide with the rest of the orders, I'm going to raise money to do newborn emergency kits for mom to have something to take to help them with their babies. And an interesting thing happened on December 4th. I had an order that I filled, raised $500, but the gal that I invited to come help me was somebody that you know, but she started asking me all kinds of questions about what I was doing and the people that it's helping and how the foundation runs. And by the way, so you know, or so your people know, the Dominican Starfish Foundation is 100%. There are no paid administration. Every penny is going to the project. But not only does $15,000 build a home for a family, but it's providing jobs for 12 men who have families. And so the impact reaches about 50 people on one house, blessing lives.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing and so incredible. So, do you feel that your background in real estate helped you with this project, logistically, mentally, spiritually? And do you feel like your background in real estate helped you at all to come to this?
Absolutely. It's an entire connection. When you love connecting with people and you love being a part of a great purchase or a great opportunity of having a home, but to be able to provide a home, it's something else. Now I forgot your question.
No, that's a perfect question, and I hear some of our listeners thinking, well, gosh, I'm in real estate. How could I marry my love of real estate with an area that I love? How could I do something similar? How can I take something I genuinely love and turn it into such an incredible service opportunity? What advice would you give real estate professionals listening to this?
Anybody who's listening, uh, people ask for money all the time. Uh, I can give $100, or I can take $100 and I can make $500. And so if I'm going to give that $100 anyway, and now I can make $500, I'm just going to give the whole $500 and see what an impact and what a difference that makes in this world. And I just happened to have one of my clients in 2020. I asked him, he's a developer, and I said, I'm going to do my Apple project. Do you have anybody you recommend I help? Thinking, somebody with cancer, I don't know. And he left the room and came back and put this pamphlet down in front of me, and it said the Dominican Starfish Foundation. He said, help them. He said, I love them because there's no paid administration. Every penny provides jobs. It's going to make a difference. And I looked at that and I thought, are you kidding? I mean, that's where I served a mission 30 odd years ago. And so of course I'll help with that. Everything rolled into place for me. So perhaps advice, if you believe in God, pray and watch what manifests in your life. Find what brings you joy, find what you're passionate about, and figure out how to use it to make a difference in this world, because you can.
Love that. So beautiful and such incredible advice. Last but not least, where can people find you on social media, find out more about the Dominican Starfish Foundation, maybe even purchase one of your legendary caramel apples, which are absolutely divine, by the way?
Thank you. My Facebook is Kim Leininger, Leininder, Hamilton. Leininger is my maiden name. My Instagram is, what is it? Kim Hamilton, Utah Realtor. They're both pretty simple. I don't know what else to say on that. I do want to go back and just finish that on December 4th, I was starting to raise money for these moms. And the lady that was helping me asked all those questions. And she's like, well, I want to donate $1,000. And this is the kind of thing that happens. And so I called up my mission leader to report to him what was happening, that I'd finished 3 homes. And he said, well, I want to help with those packs for the moms. And I told him I was going to do a food pack when I got there to deliver to impoverished areas. And he says, I want to help with that. And I was like, okay, great. And when I hung up with him, I thought, I've got to call Louise. And I just said, Louise, I don't know why. I don't know how. I said, but I have $1,500 right now. I have about 10 days left with apples. I think I want to start house number 4. And she says, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I am. I am very sure. By that night, my friend had another friend call me. Another $8,000 was donated, and I had $9,500 towards house number 4. And I called up Louise. She called me the next morning. I said, find out who needs a home. She called Amaryllis, who's the front lines of the foundation in the Dominican Starfish Foundation. People can go to dominicanstarfish.org and you can read about the foundation. But Amaryllis just started bawling. There was a family whose home had collapsed on them in the middle of the night. 50-year-old woman, 22-year-old daughter, and 2 grandchildren all living together, and the house collapsed on them in the middle of the night. And
Devastating.
it is. There's always devastating stories, but by the time I finished 4 homes, and I would have never believed it had you told me. I would have not believed it because that was impossible in my mind. But I know this: when you are making an effort to help God's children, He helps you. He does impossible math.
He does impossible math. That's a beautiful, beautiful way of putting it. I love that. And so our production team will make sure and put your Facebook and your Instagram and the DominicanStarfish.org in the show notes. So friends, if you're driving or on your Peloton, you can come back to the show notes and see how you can connect with Kim and learn more about the Dominican Starfish Foundation. So beautiful. Are you shipping caramel apples yet if people purchase them?
I have shipped caramel apples. It does cost money to ship, especially by weight and how far away it is. I've shipped to Florida. I've shipped to Texas. I've shipped to California. I've shipped to North Carolina. I've had people buy from all over. I love the local. It's just easier, but I will ship. I actually just bought those bubble wrap bags so I can put the apples in a bubble wrap bag. My apples come from a local farm that they're just the best apples. They don't have any wax on them, and they're just incredible. So that helps make the difference on my caramel apples.
They're absolutely delicious.
I'll have to send you a link for ordering caramel apples, as long as people understand that I only do this in the fall, and it depends on when the apples are ready and when they end. And that's my window.
Yeah, absolutely. So friends, whenever you're listening to this, we want to make sure that you know Kim shared a couple of beautiful stories of individuals who are so inspired by her mission and her work that they just donated money. And several people have done that. And so if you're thinking, wow, it's not fall right now, I'd still love to donate and I'd love to help. I'd love to see Kim surpass anything she's ever done in the past. There's that. I didn't believe it was possible, and God makes a way. I'd love for you to reach out to Kim and see how you can get involved, how you can help, whether you're purchasing apples or if you just want to donate and be part of this incredible work. Yay.
So from when I started in August of 22 until right now, which is January 26th, it's literally been 3 years and 4 months, maybe 5. I've raised the money for 11 homes.
That was my last question. How many grand total? 11 homes, 11 families, plus the men who help build each home. And that is such an exponential difference that it's just so spectacular, Kim. I'm so inspired by you and so grateful to have known you all these years. It's just magnificent. Any final words of advice for any of our listeners? Words of inspiration?
I'll send you my order link, and people can go in and just put their name and their phone number in now if they want to. And I'll put them into a system where I'll notify them when the apples are ready.
Nice.
I mean, I'm so small. I'm just me. And I do real estate. So I'll do what I can to communicate.
Yes. Well, where you did not believe it was possible or where there was a way, God made a way. And I know that He will continue to make a way for you to be a light and a blessing in the world and in the lives of these families and transform and change their stars. I mean, that's just an incredible, beautiful, wonderful thing. Kim, thank you so much for being here with me today, taking the time, and so love and appreciate you. And friends, you know someone who needs this inspiration and to hear Kim's message and the incredible work that she's doing in the world. And until we are able to be together again, please remember to continue to be the magic that you wish to see in the world.